No secret, been behind the mic for a lot of big games. Does this one feel different for a regular season game? Does this one feel like it has some extra juice behind it?
Yeah, Max, it does. Alabama, Georgia has been the game in college football for a number of years, and it is rare to have it as a regular season matchup. I guess the last one was the COVID year, where at least in Tuscaloosa, where we had just a small percentage of capacity, and uh, but it definitely has the circus feel to it. In fact, when the announcement came that we were going to have another um, spectator that would create another element of things, I retweeted that it was happening and said, add another tent to the circus, because that's what it's going to be, and it would have been regardless of the most recent announcement. But it's special. I mean, these are the two best teams, the two best programs in college football over the last several years, and I don't expect it to be anything other than um, the same great intensity that we have been accustomed to in the past.
The last three times they've met, a title has been on the line, whether it be the
Yep.
SEC championship or a national championship. Do you think having matchups like that give the teams and this meeting a little bit more meaning, even though there isn't one of those on the line, just because the teams know the history of what has happened in this recent matchup?
Yeah, and look, it gives the winner, at least for a week, the chance to be a front runner to get to Atlanta. This is a different dynamic with 16 teams and only two spots available. You could contend that it's easier to win the national championship than the SEC championship, just given the fact that, you know, probably four or five SEC teams are going to get in the playoff, but only two are going to make it to Atlanta for this. And the winner of this one certainly has um, an advantage, but it's not like you go ahead and make reservations if you win this game, and you don't go ahead and consider yourself out of the SEC mix. I mean, heck, this could be the first of two, potentially three meetings between the squads this year, which is crazy to think of in college football's day and age.
When you think back to last year's matchup, obviously there was a lot of hype behind that one just because of what was on the line in that SEC championship. What feels the same to you and what feels different about this year's meeting?
The questions you get, such as, can Alabama stay with them? And that's out of respect for Georgia, obviously. But I know what the recent history's been. I've been fortunate enough to be there for all of it, and see that, when they've met, there's only one time in the recent series that Georgia's come out the winner, and that was in a rematch. So I understand there's a new head coach, um, but I feel very good about Alabama's chances going into this ball game with who they are on offense and who they have shown to be, um, with the defense, and being far ahead of what I think a lot of people anticipated. And don't leave out special teams either. I think James Burnip is very much a difference maker and is a huge weapon for this offense. That if he does anything close to what he's been doing, not just over the last three ball games, but throughout his career, this has a chance to be a game that favors Alabama in the kicking game as well.
When you think back recently to regular season games in Tuscaloosa, aside from the Joe Burrow year with LSU, is there another game that stands out that was Alabama and another
Mm.
team in the regular season that had this much hype behind it?
There's, if you brought up a couple of others, I might say, yeah, I agree with you. But one that just immediately comes to mind is the LSU game of the century, which was but well before the Burrow matchup. We're talking 12 years or more now. Um, Somewhat similar, Kenny Stabler was honorary captain for that game. Joe Namath is going to be the honorary captain for this one, or among them. So it's a in addition to what we've already addressed. I mean, it's got a chance to have all the hype, all the excitement, and it is clearly the game in college football that's taking place this weekend, prime time. I'm extremely excited that I'm going to have a pretty good seat for that matchup at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Practicing, still trying to get used to starting off with something other than Bryant-Denny.
I think it's something for everybody to get used to. It's going to take some
It
time, but
it will.
it's all part of the
We'll get
process.
there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Is there anything else you wanted to add, Chris?
Um, I just think it shows the fact that this game is getting the billing and the hype, and frankly, regardless of the outcome, Alabama is still Alabama, which doesn't take anything away from Nick Saban's tenure, of course, which was historic, not only for Tuscaloosa, but nationally. Um, this program hasn't changed in its focus or its commitment as it has been since we started to be the very best that there is in the country. And I'm so excited to have a chance to watch this team, this program in this environment, in this setting, and know that Bama fans are going to do their part to make it a really tough place to play. And I have no doubt the team is going to do the very same thing.